Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures That Outperform. We've been working on how to lead from anywhere. We're actually on our 12th episode in this series. I think this is a very important one. Everybody has to work together to continuously improve how well that team of remote workers and that leader execute together. It's super important. I'm Frank Warner. I'm the founder of Boardroom Edge, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Terry Mays, a certified culture engineer. Offers lots of great insights and perspectives on how to actually drive a much more effective culture in any corporate environment. So this is about the collective responsibility of the group to drive improvements in how the work gets done. It's everybody's responsibility. No one is just a passenger. Everybody's in the car, all of them helping reach a destination. And if you want to execute well, there's lots of little things people can make, whether it's contributing some documented flows that you may not have for the new people who are coming in to save them time going around asking everybody definitions of what things really mean in the place, all sorts of little things that anybody can contribute at any time. And so we'll just get into this pretty quickly here. Terry, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah.
From people dependent to process dependent?
So, we're called a team for a reason. And just like any other type team, any sports teams, any other teams, they all have roles to play. And each person is playing their part to the best of their ability. And then from there, you're able to function in a highly enabled capacity. So if you can imagine a football team with players that are you've got three people trying to play quarterback. Well, that's just not going to work. And so the same holds true with organizations. You have to move from that chaotic flow where everybody is just kind of running like a chicken with the head cut off, just running around trying to fight fires. They're always doing in that high frenzy mode. You want to get to a place where you can plan, execute, and improve, where you don't just rely on those single people in every organization. You've always got SMEs. We're not saying don't have SMEs, but we're saying don't rely on just one person for that organization to thrive. You want to make sure that you have multiple people that are able to meet the needs. And then as well, you want to make sure you're documenting all the right processes, that you're making sure that you're not just that one person knows everything, and that is just a bad place for your organization to be in. You want to have everything documented so that now it's a system. It's the way that we do business. It's how we get things done in the organization. And it's not just reliant on that one person to get everything done and be the hero all the time.
We did a show on that, the hero syndrome. And there's even more to it when you dig into that. You can go back. It was People Unproductive. It was a great series. We did, 12 episodes on all these unproductive personality types. Some of them actually want that role. In many cases, it's just that the company didn't document things and didn't build these repeatable processes. So they became people dependent. And you've got to break that mold. You got to move from being people dependent to process dependent. And that means you're continuously improving things, you're documenting, and you're eliminating these single points of failure that form in all these organizations.
Yeah, because what happens when that person wants to take a vacation day,
or they quit,
out sick, or they leave?
Yeah.
All of your work cannot be dependent on flowing through one person. You want to utilize your team to the best of your abilities.
Right. You've gotta get to being process dependent, so it's all repeatable. And decision making, there's a lot of times that there's smaller decisions that need to be made that don't get made quickly. And you've got to build a process to push decision making and decision authority down as far as you can. And you've got to have a process that all non-critical decisions are made within 48 hours as a way to request a decision to whoever the people are that have to make it. And for the bigger decisions, you want to document a governance mechanism. Some of them go, the large decisions requiring investment, whatever the case may be, they've got to go to that governance committee that oversees that, and they have to have a turnaround standard. They got to meet at a specific time, every week, every other week. There's got to be a way to submit things to them for consideration, and they got to guarantee a turnaround time within X days for these bigger decisions. Because, boy, I have seen things bogged down for so long because it was an informal thing. They didn't have a formalized process for getting these decisions made, and somebody'd have to organize getting the people together to get the decision. And it was slow. And so you've got to have fast decision making speed. You got to look at all the places where decisions get hung up in your organization, and you got to break them down into the smaller and the big ones, and even to the point of getting the quick yes no, which we've covered in other shows. That's a little different, but these decisions are a little more complicated. Hey, 48 hours for these kind of medium-sized decisions that have to be done, maybe a couple of weeks for the big ones. Whatever it is, you've got to build these decision-making processes, and you
Yeah.
got to manage this, or you're not going to execute well. You're just not.
You're not. You have to make it streamlined so people can make certain decisions without having to go to their manager for every single decision. So you got to have some kind of authority that's released to lower levels. And then as you go up in level of responsibility, you'll have different levels of approvals. But you cannot have every decision have to go through the highest level of leadership in the company. That's just going to slow things down to a point that you're not going to be able to get things done.
It's a disaster. We've all seen that, right? Lack of a framework of how how decisions get made. That those processes and those decision types haven't been documented, and people don't know how to get them done. And the
Yeah.
other thing
And
that
it
happens
just slows
is,
everything down.
yeah, and then Tara, how many times we talked about how horrific meetings are in companies? One guy we
Yeah.
worked called it meeting madness. People were in meetings all day. Decisions weren't getting made. Meetings have to count. They've got to be efficient, effective. There's got to be a way to check if meetings are working well, even if you're doing spot little mini assessments at the end of meetings to do it. That's what we've recommended and done with clients, just to track decision making quality and the meeting quality that goes on.
You have to stop meeting just for the sake of meeting so you can talk about the next time that you're going to meet.
Yeah,
Like these meetings have to have some sort of meaning and they have to count. They have to make a difference. Otherwise, people are sitting in the meetings and they're in these all day meetings, but they're totally distracted the entire time that they're there because they don't want to be sitting in the room all day and they're not contributing all day. That is just not a productive way to spend time sitting in meetings all day, going from one meeting to the next. You've got to have some time for people to actually get some things done and actions. So, sitting in meetings, you're not able to do that. So, what people end up doing is they check out of the meeting so that they can do it
oh, they
because they
try to
know
sneak
they've
getting
got
some stuff
it
done
done.
while they
Yeah.
turn their screen off for a little while if they're remote, so they could go take care of 10 minutes of work. So they're not attending the meeting. The other thing is people set up meetings, but they don't really send out a very clear meeting purpose and agenda. It's just this quick little thing. Hey, need to meet to discuss X. And if you don't really define what it is that's going to be discussed and kind of decisions you need to make at that meeting, then people don't have an option of saying, hey, I'll be optional. You don't need me. If you need me, direct message me, and I can give you my thoughts on that one thing. I don't need to go to a 2-hour meeting because I'm going to
Yeah.
be 5 minutes. And so, you should really have people who are required and optional. And you got to summarize at the end of the meeting what was decided, who owns it, when's it due, how are we going to follow up. And this stuff doesn't happen at meetings. Meetings are just very poorly run in companies, huge time wasters.
Yeah, the follow-up is so important. How are you going to make sure that the things that you do agree on in that meeting are going to get followed up on and completed?
Yeah. And then we get to this, Tara. I mean, you've seen a lot of this in your time.
Yes. Oh man, I love this jumping through hoops with the sweat coming off their brows. Like it's just so indicative of how hard it can be sometimes, where you feel like you're literally jumping through hoops to try to get things done, that you're doing all this busy work, stuff that doesn't even matter, so that somebody feels good about the presentation or they feel good about a meeting because they've asked for all of this additional information that really is not relevant. And
Yeah.
so you want to make sure you're eliminating that type of busy work where people are just doing things that don't really move the needle. They don't really make a difference one way or the other. There's nothing wrong with streamlining and simplifying and getting people to do things that make a difference. But when you start just kind of nitpicking things and having people do things that don't really contribute to the overall goals of what you're trying to accomplish, or if you're just doing things, the person did it, but you don't like the way they did it, you want them to do it a different way because it meets your needs of how you want it done. All of those things just
Right.
irritate the crap out of people. Like
Well,
it
they're
just
horrible.
really bothers them because you feel like your work was not good enough And now the manager is having you go over and over and over again. And it just turns into busy work because you know that you have met the requirements of what needed to be met with the first request. And
Yeah.
everything after that just turns into busy work.
Or, hey, if we're going to respond to this type of request, you got to follow this format. You know, it's got 9 different things that have to be covered instead of here's the things that you can include. Keep it as brief and crisp as you can, but don't leave anything out. So you don't lock people into this structure. You give them room to think so that maybe they could just write up a little 2 paragraph thing. They don't have to follow these 9
Yeah.
areas, which is just nonsense. You know, you put people in these straitjackets because somebody wants it in that format. That worked
Yeah.
for, and you know, we've all seen this nonsense. Got to give
Yeah.
people room to think.
And you've got to have some value coming out of what the people are doing. If
Yeah,
they're spending all their time with this busy work, this at not adding any value at all, it is demoralizing. And people get frustrated with that and they don't want to do all of that extra busy work because they know it's not adding value.
yeah, yeah. You know, it was that famous U.S. Steel Weekly Coal Production Report. The CEO one week asked for, I need to know what the production of coal was for all their steel mills. I need to know this week for whatever reason. And the person he assigned it to said, look, he's going to come back for it again, keep producing it. Do you know that report got produced for 30 years? Just busy work. And they never asked for it again. It just became one of the things somebody had to do. And it was there in case it was needed. But these things
Yeah.
do go on, and they're kind of crazy. So look, now we're moving on to the next episode. This is very important. Can you get your organization into a state of flow? If you really want to do lead from anywhere and build an incredibly effective remote organization, you should be thinking about things like interruption free time and other things that optimize how people do the work, their ability to think and solve problems throughout the day. So their time is used as productively as possible. I think another great episode coming. Hope you could join us. We're here every Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Another great episode for you on how to lead from anywhere. So thanks for being with us.
Yes. Bye for now.